Good morning. I'm Brian Middleton, Fort Bend County District Attorney, and I am pleased to announce the successful completion of another operation. This operation was Operation Hawthorne. The purpose of this operation was to suppress crime, violent crime in particular. We targeted known violent offenders with warrants and gang members. The result of the operation included 50 arrests and served over 80 warrants. So all of this is done in an effort to keep our community safe. We in Fort Bend County believe that setting the tone in our community that we won't tolerate crime in our community is necessary to successful law enforcement operations. And I'm pleased in this operation that we were able to partner with U.S. Marshal O'Connor and the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, as well as the other agencies that are here with us. So we are fortunate in Fort Bend County to have these type of collaborations, as we believe that Fort Bend County should remain safe. So at this time, I'm going to turn over the mic to U.S. Marshal Michael O'Connor. Thank you.
Don't want to trip. Howdy. I'm T. Michael O'Connor. I'm the U.S. Marshal for the Southern District of Texas, which obviously includes Houston, Fort Bend, and everything south to the Gulf Coast, to the border, and from Laredo all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley. And as vast as it is, there's many situations about organized crime. Each area has its own issues. As a sheriff for 4 terms in Victoria County, which is in the middle of nowhere, we realized we needed resources beyond our capabilities to keep our community safe, as the district attorney said, and that we recruited anybody, state, federal, and local. This is family, so everybody understands that we're stakeholders for the people to which we serve. And when I came in 2020, I knew the importance of not only supporting the major metropolitan areas, but also, I don't necessarily consider Fort Bend as much a rural, but I grew up in Victoria coming here, and it was rural at one time. And you do have rural areas. And the organized crime, have more of a mobility to commit their crimes at any place that they deem is necessary. So I like to say that law enforcement, I want the criminal element to understand that we are predictably unpredictable. We will come get you. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you are not going to be a predator to our communities. So I was very happy to be a part of that when the district attorney had asked with our team, with the sheriffs and PD. We've already worked together very well, not only in this area, but all the other areas surrounding the county and even south. And the more we do this, the more they understand, we're not going to eradicate crime. Let's be honest. But we're going to suppress it. And it's like the whack-a-mole game. Anybody here at least old enough to know what the whack-a-mole game was? Well, all I want, or we want, is more mallets so that we can cover every aspect. And I think with this operation, as you can see, it wasn't a long period of time. But in fact, I think it was very successful. And to be successful in doing things like this, you got to have the right attitude. And I think the right attitude has always been here in Fort Bend and the surrounding counties, and we're here to support. We're not a primary agency. We're a supportive agency. And if it happens, the crime happens here, we will definitely, and they're gone, we will track them down as a U.S. Marshal Service. So thank you all very much for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Hanna. I am Chief of the Special Crimes Division for Fort Bend County. I work for Mr. Middleton as a prosecutor. I'd like Damaris Ars to come up here with me this morning while we address a few things. First, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the participating agencies. while there are a large number of agencies involved, it may sound or appear that this is a chaotic endeavor, but it is not. It's very organized and very efficient. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about these operations is that it creates a situation where all the agencies are working together at the same time in the same effort to apprehend these wanted criminals. And so it does a service not only by getting these criminals off of the streets in Fort Bend County, it also does it in an efficient manner to where things can happen much more smoothly. I also want to make a point to remind the public that these operations are going to continue. We're going to have more of these. So when we have fugitives that are here in Fort Bend County and we go find the warrants for them, we're going to go find them. There's not a safe place here in Fort Bend County, and with all the help of the local agencies, everybody's on board. It happens very quickly and very efficiently. And so again, I'd like to thank those agencies, and if anybody has any questions in regards to some of the statistics, I'm willing to answer those, or Investigator Ars can do that. Next, if not, I will pass it on to the next speaker.
As far as statistics, I don't know if you have them up here, but can you just tell the camera, what was the good outcome of this?
Well, the good outcome is we had over 50 individuals arrested who had felony warrants for their arrest. So they had committed a crime. A judge had been convinced that they committed the crimes, and a warrant issued for their arrest. And so, as you can see, there's 50 arrests, 80 felony warrants, which meant that some of those arrestees had multiple offenses for which they were wanted. It also indicates that we had 7 gang members, 5 firearms, and then nearly $10,000 in currency was seized. That currency is going to be money that, when the officers made their arrest, believed was contraband, in that it was being used in the commission of a felony offense or were the proceeds of the commission of a felony offense. And so that makes that money subject to forfeiture, which is something that Mr. Middleton's office also handles, and we will proceed with those appropriately. And then also over 10 ounces of narcotics were seized.
Mark, this happened in May?
Yes, sir.
It's July. Have there been any indictments yet?
I don't have that information available to me right now. Many of these people have already been indicted. So there are situations where they may have been indicted and failed to show to court, or they've been indicted and that warrants issue as a result of that indictment.
Regarding Operation Hawthorne?
Yes. Yep.
To be clear, this was a warrant roundup. So
Yep.
we were seeking known fugitives who had warrants. So the charges were already pending.
But not specifically felony indictments. Just
Oh, yeah, they were all
They're all
felonies.
felonies. They're all felonies. Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the planning of this, how long it takes to plan to get everyone together, and the importance of having everybody.
Well, I'm going to defer to, unless Brian, did you
Yeah,
want to-
Damaris, you want to, and talk about some of the particular offenses.
So the planning came together. I made contact first, with the U.S. Marshals to see if they would be willing to assist us. And then I reached out to our different agencies, constables, sheriff, and the Houston Police Department, because not only are the warrants, some of the warrants were Fort Bend County warrants, but the individuals were going to be located in the Houston and the surrounding area. And so we needed units to be readily available, when we were ready to take a person into custody. Some of the warrants included, aggravated crimes, sexual assaults, crimes against children, narcotics, firearm charges, and murder charges. We also had 5 out-of-state fugitives that were located and apprehended during Operation Hawthorne. So basically, Fort Bend County is not a safe haven. If you're out of state, out of county, and you're coming here to hide, it's not a safe haven.
Your name again?
Damaris Ars. Ahorita vamos a dar la parte en español.
And with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Sheriff Fagan for Fort Bend County Sheriff.
Good evening. I'm Sheriff Fagan of Fort Bend. This operation took a lot of violent offenders off our streets here in Fort Bend, but this was a force multiplier. We reached out to other agencies, the U.S. Marshals, HPD, the different constables here in Fort Bend County. As everyone said, this is something to take violent offenders off our streets, to keep the people of Fort Bend and in the Houston area and the surrounding areas safe. We couldn't do this alone. Law enforcement now is coming together all across the U.S. to bring down crime. Crime is going up everywhere. It's just not, criminals just don't stay in a certain zip code. They move around. They join forces. So we have to do the same thing. We have to be one step ahead of them at all times. And that's what this operation does. I'm thankful to have a DA like Brian Middleton here to see this. I'm thankful for the U.S. Marshal as well, and I'm thankful for all the other agencies that came out to help on this operation. It's a very successful operation. And I want everyone to realize we took out the most dangerous, violent criminals. So we could have saved countless lives that we don't know that we saved already. So this will continue, and we will always work together to keep you safe. Thank you.
As far as the narcotics that were seized is concerned, what percentage of that would you say maybe fentanyl represents?
The narcotics that were seized, it was 10 ounces of marijuana.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the gangs were? Did y'all mention that in here?
Tell you what, to make it more efficient, we'll take up questions at the end. We'll let these speakers go ahead and make their statements.
Good morning. I'm Constable Mike Beard, Precinct 4. I'd like to thank District Attorney Brian Middleton and his staff for taking the initiative to put together this task force so we can take violent gang members off the streets of Fort Bend County. We all live here in this county. We want it to be a safe community for our families, for everyone. So I thank HPD, the Gang Task Force, the Sheriff's Office, and Constable from Precinct 3 for all of us working together. As the Sheriff said, that's what it's going to take, us working together to take these violent offenders off the streets to make Fort Bend County safe. We will continue to work with the DA's office on any operation they have to make these operations successful. Again, thank y'all.
Good morning. I start in the name of God, the most beneficial, the most merciful. My name is Constable Nabil Shaikh, and I'm your Fort Bend County Precinct 3 Constable. Now, although this was a small operation, it was a very effective and successful operation. And I want to again thank our great District Attorney, Brian Middleton, for including us into this task force, as well as the United States Marshal Service and all the collaborating agencies. And this is what it takes. It takes all of us together to take these violent offenders off the street, and we will be relentless. If you come to Fort Bend County and you want to commit a crime, you're looking at who's going to be coming after you. So don't come to Fort Bend County and commit these crimes. Thank you.
So I just want to correct something. Nothing that the U.S. Marshal does is small. This was not a small operation. They went as far as North Carolina to make some arrests. So I want the public to know this was a robust operation that took a lot of manpower. And all these different agencies, as you see on the poster there, from the U.S. Marshal's Office to the constables from Precinct 3 and 4 to the Houston Police Department and the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, all came together with the single purpose of keeping this community safe. We targeted known violent offenders. And to answer your question, some of the known gang affiliations that we arrested, which will be in the written press release, we arrested members of the Bloods, the Callies, the Crips, the Foreign Park Crips, L.A., New Orleans, and the Treetop Pyro. These are all people who are undesirable in our community, and we will remain steadfast and proactive in pursuing these violent offenders in our community. The Fort Bend County District Attorney's Office is proactive and will be proactive in keeping this community safe. We're not just going to wait on cases to be filed. We're going to make cases, and we're going to pursue fugitives to the full extent of the law. We will keep this community safe, and we will have these healthy partnerships among these various agencies, all working together from the federal agencies down to the local agencies, including our constables, working hard with that one objective to keep this community safe. So at this time, we'll field any further questions that you may have.
The gangs that you mentioned, are those any of those local gangs?
All of these gangs have a known presence in Fort Bend County. Most of these people were arrested in Fort Bend County. So we are aware, we know who they are, we're watching them, and they should be aware that we're coming for them. Any other questions?
Out of curiosity, the name Operation Hawthorne?
Okay, I'll defer to the mayors on that. I'm not exactly sure, or the marshal, why that name was picked.
Hawthorne is representative for the month of May, and so that's why that name was selected. Very simple.
All right, so we ready to do
You got any
Spanish?
recommendations for the next one?
All right, so we're gonna do the Spanish.
Portion.
Yes.
Okay. Buenos días, mi nombre es Damaris Arce, soy una investigadora aquí de la oficina del fiscal. So, voy a hablar de una operación que tomó en nuestro condado. La oficina del fiscal del distrito del condado de Fort Bend, en conjunto con los U.S. Marshals, Gulf Coast Violent Offenders and Fugitive Task Force, oficiaron Operación Hawthorne, comenzando el 3 de mayo hasta el 9 de junio del 2023, para reducir los delitos de violencia en el condado de Fort Bend. La oficina del fiscal de este distrito y los U.S. Marshals fueron asistidos por alguaciles, diputados y policías de Houston para localizar y arrestar con seguridad a fugitivos buscados durante un periodo de 5 semanas. El precinto 4 y el precinto 3 del alguacil del condado de Fort Bend, la oficina del sheriff del condado de Fort Bend, la unidad de represión del crimen de South Gessner, Southwest y Central del Departamento de Policía de Houston asistieron en esta operación. El enfoque de esta meta era localizar pandilleros, delincuentes violentos con órdenes de arresto y recolectar inteligencia criminal. 80 órdenes de arresto por delitos graves fueron ejecutados contra 50 individuos durante la operación. Se realizaron arrestos en todo el condado de Fort Bend y el área metropolitana de Houston, y uno en Carolina del Norte. Los cargos incluyeron agresiones agravadas, sexuales, delitos contra niños, delitos con armas de fuego y drogas y asesinatos. Más de un tercio de los fugitivos se encontraban en el condado de Fort Bend. Se recuperaron 5 armas de fuego, se incautaron $9,855 en efectivo y se sustrajeron más de 10 onzas de marihuana de nuestros vecindarios. También fueron arrestados 7 pandilleros con un previo registro de este mismo. Y vamos a acabar con, en el condado de Fort Bend no van a encontrar seguridad los delincuentes. Por más que se escondan, los vamos a encontrar. Gracias.
That will conclude this press conference. Thank you for attending.